How has it been nearly 5 whole years since the last Tales title, Berseria? This is far too long for a series that is easily up there as my favourite JRPG series of all time. This series is a gift that keeps on giving, which is why I've been so excited to get my hands on Tales of Arise. And let me just say this now, Tales of Arise blew me away in every single way. Developed by Bandai Namco, Arise was designed with the aim to evolve the Tales franchise formula, and this evolution is clear, most notably in the visual style. Arise was developed using Unreal 4, and this allowed the series to take a leap forward visually. It looks absolutely beautiful and is by far the best looking Tales game to date. Hell, it's one of the best looking JRPGs I've ever played. But the visuals aren't the only thing that has evolved. Tales of Arise does quite a few things differently for the better, while still feeling like a Tales game should. Long story short, this game is outstanding in every way, and my high expectations were easily met. Before we begin, if you liked this review, it would help me out a lot if you hit the like and subscribe button for more Tales and JRPG content. I'd also like to thank the publishers for providing me with a review code for this game. All content that you see was taken on the PS5 from the first 20 odd hours or so, and this will also be as spoiler free as possible. Also, let me know if you'll be playing this game. Alright, let's get into it. Tales of Arise takes place in Dana, who have been under the rule of the technologically superior Rana for about 300 years. The game starts off in Caligula, which is one of the 5 realms of Dana. Now, each realm has its own Renan Lord who runs the realm any way they see fit, which involves depleting Dana of its resources and freedoms. For instance, the boiling hot realm of Caligula has its Danans as slaves, forced to work to the bone in the heat until they die. This is where the game begins, with Elfin, known as the Iron Mask, slaving away day after day. He suffers from a serious case of JRPG amnesia, not knowing who he is or why he has a mask stuck to his face. Yeah, don't ask me how he eats through that. He also can't feel pain for some reason, so there are a load of mysteries surrounding Elfin. Early in the game, Elfin encounters a girl from Rana who, for some reason, wants to take down the 5 Renan Lords. Yeah, she may be cute, but you're gonna want to keep your distance because she is cursed, causing spikes to wound all those who touch her. Elfin and Shion will soon be joined by a few other characters on a journey to free Dana from the Renan oppression. Then, of course, in typical Tales style, things get crazy with twists, turns, and a load of absolute awesomeness. Tales of Arise's narrative is brilliant with perfect pacing. I was always so excited to see what the next realm of Dana had to offer and to uncover the many mysteries established throughout this journey.
We're fighting this damn war to keep people alive!
Yeah, you're right. This is a war. Did you just realize that?
One thing that I love about the Tales games is the characters, and Arise 2 has a very strong cast. While I didn't immediately fall in love with all of them, they all grew on me, and I can safely say that this is one of my favourite cast of Tales characters. A huge reason why I love these characters so much is because there are so many voiced cutscenes and skits, which provides loads of opportunities to flesh out their personalities, histories, and arcs. Now, let's talk about these skits, which are a staple of the Tales series. This is yet another example of the series taking a huge step forward. In Arise, skits are presented in a comic book style format, kind of like the recently released Scarlet Nexus.
Alright, that makes sense. So let me ask, does that mean you can't use any dark magic at all? Or that they're just more attuned to it?
Basically not at all, since I don't have any dark energy inside my body. There might be an indirect way to tap into it, but I wouldn't know. I didn't learn everything that my family knew about magic, so it's hard for me to say for sure.
What I loved about this is that it enables different shot sizes, more character actions, and complete control over the pacing and reveals for each skit. As a long-time Tales fan, this change was a bit strange at first, but it soon became clear that the style is a huge improvement in every possible way. The voice acting in Arise is also excellent, which is good because, like I said before, there are a lot of scenes and a lot of skits. Unfortunately, regular NPC interactions are not voiced, which includes all of the side quests as well as a low percentage of character interactions. Given the high quality of everything else in the game, I was a bit disappointed that not everything here was voiced. The side quests quests are another example of something that hasn't taken a huge leap forward, as most of them are simple hunt or fetch quests. They do provide good rewards, which makes them worth completing, but there's nothing revolutionary here. Another non-story related activity includes hunting down owls, which I really liked. There are loads of these hidden around the world, and finding them will grant you cosmetic accessories and costumes. Then there's a Colosseum, which is just as you would expect, and fishing, which is actually pretty cool. There are loads of different fish to catch, and to get them all, you'll need to visit different fishing spots and use different lures and different reeling patterns. This reminded me a lot of Breath of Fire 4. Also worth mentioning is the soundtrack composed by series veteran Motoi Sakuraba. Now, I find the Tales soundtracks to be a bit hit and miss, with some games being a hell yeah and others being a bit meh. Tales of Arise gets a hell yeah. There are a large number of awesome tracks from battle themes to field music. This is a soundtrack that I'll be listening to outside of playing the game. Now, let's get on to the gameplay. I'll come out and say it right now. This is the best Tales combat to date. It is so fast, responsive, and well balanced, and all of the mechanics come together perfectly. On the PS5, battles are transitioned into and out of very quickly from the map, and this is the first time in a Tales game that I wanted to fight through as many encounters as I could. They are just so much fun. You can take 4 characters into battle and can switch control between them at any time. The 3 that you aren't controlling will act based on a single party-wide AI setup, which can be adjusted in the strategy menu and changed at any time in or out of battle. Just like every single Tales game that I play, I always stick to just one character and learn the ins and outs of them, but it should be noted that each character does play very differently, which adds a lot to the replayability of the game. Elphin, for instance, can transition his arts into devastating unique arts with his fire sword at the expense of some HP. These unique arts make his combat style so much different to everybody else. Your controlled character can run freely around the battlefield using the shoulder buttons to unleash a low-powered basic attack and to evade. The face buttons allow you to jump and unleash various set arts that consume AG, which naturally recharges when not attacking. Creating combos with regular attacks, air attacks, and arts feels better than it ever has, and I was always completely engaged when on the battlefield. But of course, Tales games always have more complicated mechanics, and Arise is no exception. Over time, through attacks and perfectly timing your evades, you'll increase your boost gauge required for unique character attacks that not only allow you to string together more combos, but also down specific types of enemies. Shion, for instance, is able to down airborne enemies, while Rinwell can absorb all enemies' spells as they're casting it. Using boost attacks to extend combos and to down enemies at the right time is crucial on the harder difficulties, and is part of what makes this combat so much fun. Once an enemy has been broken through effective use of combos and boost attacks, you can unleash a boost strike, which will finish off an enemy and deal area damage. Performing boost strikes looks and feels great, but I did have a slight issue with this, in that the window for doing so is very small. If you are a split second late, perhaps because an enemy has died, you'll instead unintentionally waste your regular boost attack because they're mapped to the same button. But this is easily forgiven, as the combat is just so enjoyable and up there as my favourite action combat, right next to the FF7 remake. Another mechanic that needs to be mentioned is the brand new cure point system. Your party has a shared pool of CP, which is required to use any healing or support art. This means that if you're unprepared or getting knocked around and dying all the time, eventually you'll run out of CP and most likely lose the battle because you can't heal anymore. To be honest, I wasn't initially a fan of this, but as I played more of the game and got used to how to manage it through boss fights and through item use, I grew to really appreciate it. This ties into how challenging the game can be. I played the game on moderate, which is between normal and hard, and the challenge here was perfect for me. I died quite a few times and really had to think about how to spend my limited gold and prepare my arts and equipment for each boss fight. These boss fights were all very well designed and really let this battle system shine. If you've played a Tales game before, I highly recommend that you play on moderate too, unless you're just crazy and want to play it on hard. So far, I've mentioned quite a few giant leaps forward that Arise has taken compared to previous entries. One of the biggest improvements is with the field and dungeon design, which has been completely lackluster in the past. This time, the dungeon design is top tier. Aside from looking absolutely drop dead gorgeous with incredible art design, there are also loads of optional routes and alternative paths to take. While the complete layout of the map is displayed from the start, all of the items and treasure chests are not shown, making it worthwhile to hunt high and low. In past Tales games, it has also been possible to run through areas and pick up items without even getting into an encounter. This time, there are many enemies that cannot be avoided. If you want a certain pickup or want to access an optional area, you're going to have to fight, and I welcomed every single encounter just so I could jump into battle one more time. The primary method in building your characters in Tales of Arise is through spending skill points earned from side quests and through battle. Characters can earn titles through fulfilling a wide range of specific requirements. This could be through using a certain type of art over and over, or beating a specific Colosseum battle, or cooking a particular dish. Once the title is unlocked, there will be several skills available to learn, which will either be arts or passive skills. You also get a stat bonus for learning all skills within a title, so there's a bit of strategy here. Accessory Crafting is another new addition that allows you to combine materials to create accessories with different bonuses. I found myself crafting and chopping and changing these frequently based on upcoming boss fights. There are also artifacts hidden around the world that provide party-wide bonuses, as well as a bunch of optional powerful bosses that provide an increase to your CP. So yeah, there is plenty to do if you need that extra edge in battle. RPG of the Year. Check. Best Tales game ever. Check. One of the best JRPGs of the decade. Check. Tales of Arise is that good, and I loved every second of it. The biggest changes that Arise makes are some of its strongest points, starting with the incredible visuals and art style, which is in an entirely new league when compared to previous Tales titles. The whole presentation here is just top tier, including the voice acting and soundtrack. Then there's the combat. Tales has never felt so good, and the addition of the boost and strike mechanics make this very hard to put down. Then, of course, we have the engaging, well-paced story driven by a great cast of characters. The many cutscenes and new skit style really allows them to develop into the awesome characters that they are. It is very hard to say anything negative about Tales of Arise, but if I had to, it would be that all of the scenes and NPC interactions should be fully voiced. Tales of Arise is a must-play JRPG, and if this does not win Best RPG at the Game Awards, there is a problem with the world. Are you excited to play Tales of Arise? What is your experience with the series? Let me know in the comments. This was Hellfire RPGs, thanks for watching. If you liked this review, hit like and sub for more RPG and Tales content. See you next time.